is just fantastic. Captain's Log, Subdate 21230.2. With 1 day till New Year's Eve, I've gotten a nice bottle of Lafroig out, quarter cask, and have managed to fill my glorious pod with peaty smells of gloriousness and deliciousness and moistness. Due to a complete lack of preparation on my part, sorry about that, I actually didn't have a topic planned for today. However, one of my Discord server mods, who is very active on other servers as well, thought perhaps a good subject would be to talk about Discord servers themselves, because they are quite fascinating. There is a rise and fall to them, an interesting dynamic for how people, those that own the servers especially, run their servers, the communities they foster, harvest, cultivate. It is quite fascinating for me, and I'm sure for many who don't use Discord, this could well serve as an eye-opener, or possibly force you to close your eyes even more depending on the type of server we discuss. For the sake of it, I have 3 Discord servers, but 2 of them serve very specific purposes, and because of that, there are no real issues when it comes to community. For example, I have a server called Moistski Live. The entire point of it is for politics, so the only other person on the server who is also an admin is Trups. The second server I use for work, which is all main channel content, only has 4 other members, and those 4 people have helped me a lot, either as an artist or as somebody who has seen something and thought it might be an idea for me to look at it. Oh, and Sithy. But that's only because I require some eye candy from time to time, and he is absolutely scrumptious. Originally my server, my main server, was called Rilia. It's now called Moistonia because one of my patrons' partners who was on the server for a time, she had this fantastic idea for a name of a server for 7 Days to Die. The name was then taken from that and applied to Discord. Originally I created it solely for patrons, and 3.5 years ago, almost, that's what I did. After much peer pressure from one of my patrons, in fact. He's a bully, okay? Also scrumptious. I'm hoping at no point in this I need to use a sarcasm sign to indicate when I'm being sarcastic. It should be fairly obvious by now. The server's intent originally was just so that I could have my hangouts with patrons. At no point did I think we'd end up where we are now, where it has become an app I always have open on one of my screens. I have 2. And I always use it, either for work or to communicate not only with patrons but friends I have made over the years. Over the years, though, I've joined other servers, and what I've noticed is how those servers are run vastly differently to my own. That said, while my server has held a certain consistent line when it comes to things like drama, fighting, it is incredibly uncommon to happen because there is now in place fail-safes to ensure that it does not bleed out. Systems that had to be created with the assistance of mods, which I never had originally, something that had to be also grown, developed over time to ensure that the community itself was safe, which sounds really weird, but there is a level of responsibility any person that owns a server that has any members in it has to look after those who are on their server, unless the entire point is for them to fight, and there are plenty of servers for that. Over the years I've joined many servers either as a friend, a fellow creator, a supporter and or patron, and over those same years I've left most of them because of boredom, because things either moved too fast, which is understandable when you are a significantly large channel like for example Sargon of Akkad. I couldn't keep up with that nor all the channels. There were just too many, okay? It's almost like an investment, just to understand how it works. Or others like, well, Bearing is the best example. He has a super secret patron one, but nothing ever happened. So I saw no reason to stick around. And that's no offense intended to someone like Bearing because he's a good mate. It's just a statement of fact. If your server isn't active, there's no point being there really, is there? Or having it. If the server is like my own Moistonia, a patron server, that would also include Twitch subscribers and Subscribe Star patrons as well. It is the job of the creator to be present. It is also the job of that same creator to make sure that they honour the rewards within their own patron tiers, to ensure that those same patrons don't feel like we're simply fobbing them off. That might be seen as a shot to others. It's not. One of the more interesting aspects that has risen because of Discord servers becoming so popular, and to the point every creator has one of their own at least, is the increasing amount of, let's say, drama that is reported on. And I guess to an extent you have your own source to report with, but since you can't archive a Discord server, it can all argue to be manipulated and or a lie, especially if all you've got is a screenshot. I do find it fascinating that there are a number of servers that I hear about on a regular basis, as servers that have a whole plethora of problems, yet some people do thrive off that. It's a personality trait that I don't personally have, but I can certainly understand and respect those that love feeding on a certain type of energy that is quite, well, I find it taxing, but others find it to be, the opposite. That's fine. It's just not something you'll see on my server because I'm really boring, okay? Which is something I can at least be somewhat respected for being consistent. Moistonia has always been a server that many have said is a bit more of a community feel to it. You don't see arguments, and if you do, it is rare. It was only about 7 or 8 months ago a system was put in place to ensure that those that broke server rules were told they broke server rules, to the point they now understand this. Now, if I can get them to respect the judges, I'd greatly appreciate it. When we first came up with ideas for rules and systems in place to not only protect those on the server, but those outside the server, there was a stress introduced. But as time passed, because mine is more of a community server, it became more manageable and easy to do. On other servers where it's just mates, I've often found the server is utterly dead in favour of a Twitter DM group, because those same people would rather open Twitter app on their phone and message instead of Discord, which is totally understandable if you are a creature of habit and can't be bothered with something I would argue to be far simpler to use and with far greater potential than a site that solely exists for fighting. Again, there are servers for that. If something that you do is grow a community, and your community is a certain type, you do run a risk. You run a risk of cultivating a very harmful community that in turn negatively impacts you as a creator if you are a creator. If you're a streamer as well, I will include that. It is why I take my work off Moistonia and place it somewhere else. It's why I don't stream with people, because I don't want them to negatively impact what I do for entirely selfish reasons. There might well be an underlying message aimed at some people with that comment. In truth, I'm too lazy to directly name anyone, because to do so would mean to drag anyone through the mud. And in truth, it is also not my responsibility to tell others how to run their servers. After all, you only go as far as you want to, and that is a choice one makes freely. Again, it is why I had to separate certain things that I do, because that way I felt a level of freedom restored. Something I've seen over the years as a final point is the rise of many servers, and then how they fall. Either it be because of a number of incidents, or because the owner themselves have simply moved on. Which is unfortunate, really, isn't it? To grow a community and simply not be there. This is my ramble, TED Talk, I guess. I just wanted to talk briefly about what I think about Discord servers. As I use them all the time, I find them to be incredibly useful, and I am in turn incredibly grateful for what I have managed to grow over the years with the help of others, all the while watching other servers, many of whom have stagnated. And there are factors that play a part, whether it be that aforementioned drama, infighting, inactivity, or simply those that they had welcomed into their communities, onto their servers, had left because they didn't like what they were seeing once behind the curtain. Oh, and if someone makes dummy accounts just to troll people, then to fake drama with it, yeah, you're kinda sad.